What's up, everybody? Brian here with Mr. George, and we're going to do the drop seoi-nage. This is our beginner requirement on a throw or a takedown for our yellow and orange belts in the youth and teen curriculum, okay? So we're going to start from the over-under position here, okay? Now, one thing we're going to be teaching you is how to switch sides. So I'm going to do that with just no resistance. So here, once I get comfortable, I can switch sides, right? We're not in a rush to switch sides. I want us to feel comfortable here. Maybe George tries to push me off balance a little bit. I push back into him. So if he pushes me here, I push him here, right? And we're kind of leaning into each other. We've got our balance, and once we both feel good, switch, right? Now, once we're comfortable and we're able to switch, what we're going to do is just throw an uppercut, okay? Everybody that is learning this takedown does some striking with us as well. So it's just like our uppercut punch. Okay, so when we're here in the over-under position, what we're going to do is we're going to take this across and we're going to throw our uppercut. Now, we can't just stay here when we do that. As we come across, what we're going to do is we're going to turn a little bit. Now, right now, I'm looking this way. I need to turn and look that way as I drop. Okay, so this is called drop seoi-nage. That means shoulder throw. So when we come in, I turn it here. And I'm bringing him up on his tippy toes as I drop to both knees. Okay, so here, I look over my shoulder. Now, as he falls down, you see there's some space. So what we need to do is, we don't pause here. As soon as he falls, we're on our knees. I curl this hand out, and I secure the side control, or side mount position. Okay, so let's get here. You know, we're feeling comfortable. I'm trying to push George off balance, maybe raising, pushing into him, pulling, pushing with my shoulder, and we're good. So let's switch. Right? I'm trying to push George around. It's not really working. We'll switch again. We're feeling comfortable here. Right there. As soon as we hit, I go down. Okay? So, that is our drop seoi-nage. Again, that's our beginner requirement to go to side control. But if you're an intermediate or advanced rank, you also need to know this. And as you get into the advanced ranks, we'll start adding on submissions and things like that, escapes from those submissions off the throw. All right, this is going to be our beginner submission requirements and how to do these techniques, okay? So we're going to start in the sitting back mount, right? So we just have our hooks set. That's what we call these hooks. We want to be active with our hooks, and we want to be sure we don't cross our feet, okay? So what I mean by be active is if I'm just kind of relaxing them and they're barely in here, George could just pull one of his legs out. And we don't want that to happen, so try and pull your leg out again, George. I just am kind of pushing my ankles into George's legs. Okay? Now, we're going to use a seatbelt grip. So figure out which side you like, and I would encourage you to work from that side when you're working on your techniques. It will help you as you learn how to do the move if you've never done it. So these are beginner requirements, but intermediates and advanced, you will also need to know these techniques. So the first one is, we got back mount with the seatbelt. What we want to do is go into the arm bar. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to loop over here, right? Loop over as we fall to our side, and we have this arm controlled, right? If you lay on your back, it's a little easier to escape. So we're going to just turn on our side just a little bit. That way the arm doesn't run into our belly, and we can pull it down towards the mat. And there's all this space where we can just keep pulling until we get the tap, right? We want to be slow and controlled like that when we're drilling, looking for our partner, maybe listening if they verbal tap as we pull the arm, okay? So again, we're just starting with the seatbelt grip, right? We're switching our arm over like that, and I like to describe it like I'm shaving his head, all right? So I want to shave his head a little bit and then come over his face with my leg. My calf is controlling his head. I'm not on my back, because if I'm on my back and his legs are way far away, he can kind of run away, okay? Which is an escape we'll be working with you. We're going to be on our side a little bit, pulling his arm down, okay? We can do that with both our hands or with one of our hands, okay? So that's the arm bar. Now, we need to do the rear naked choke. You'll also see this called the Mata Leon, or the lion killer, right? Now, why is it called a rear naked choke? I just told someone this today. It's because we're not using the gi. So if you do any of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes, you might see the gi. We had someone try a Jiu-Jitsu class the other day and said, somebody choked me with my clothes. It was so crazy, right? Well, you need to look into that too, but the rear naked choke, you don't have to have this. So it's really good for MMA or any grappling, okay? So what I'm gonna wanna do is, see how his chin is up here? We wanna be sure we get under that chin, all right? Now, I like to take my thumb and we'll follow under his jaw. So it's right here under his jawline, and I will go in either side. So whichever side's your favorite, I encourage you, like on the arm bar, to do that side. So I'm gonna shoot in here and wrap across his neck. Now what I see students do a lot, and there's not technically anything wrong with this, it can work, but a lot of times it will make your opponent kind of cough and gag a little bit. So that's cool, but this is what we call a blood choke. See, George has blood flowing to his brain through his neck here, through his carotid arteries. So we want to be sure to make a V shape with our arm. So this is a blood choke and not a larynx crush, okay? So I want to be following down and wrapping, okay? Now, an escape we're going to show later in the curriculum is if you put your arm this way, someone can grab it. So we need to watch out for that, right? So if you're doing the rear naked choke, we want to grab our bicep and go behind his head, okay? Now when I do that, I go bicep and behind the head. I'm punching this here, and I'm going to put my head on the back. If you're thinking about your self-defense, it's always a good idea to hide your eyes a little bit. And I'm pushing his head forward and pulling my elbows tight. All right, so, all right, from here, and that is our rear naked choke. So again, be sure you get the V shape on your arm and are not straight across. If you're straight across, it may get the tap, but they might also just start coughing on you, right? So we want him to tap because he's about to go to sleep. There's a saying, tap or nap, right? And if you don't tap to a blood choke, you will take a nap. All right, we're gonna be working on our back mount escape. Now, George has got good hooks. He's pushing his ankles into my legs. That way I can't just pull my leg out, right? And he's got a seatbelt. So there's different ways that we can get out of the seatbelt. And as you progress through the ranks, you will see different ways of doing that. The first way we want the beginners and above to know is this. First, we need a trap here and here, okay? Now, if I can get his underhook or this seatbelt kind of pinched down a little bit and go both hands on the top arm, right? If they already have you in a really tight back mount and you're rolling, sometimes this can be hard. But as they're getting you here, it can be something that really works for white belts on up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this over to the side and we're gonna fall on it, okay? Now this is one where we are not going to fall with our belly button facing up because of how we're gonna turn to get out, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn into George's guard, okay? So sometimes we will do something where we get out that way. This one, for our beginners, we're gonna stay inside of George's legs, and if we can turn down to our belly, we will be in his guard and we can start working our favorite guard passes, okay? So this move we call a needle thread. One foot's gonna be on the mat, the other foot is gonna go through like that. And you saw when I went through, I'm holding his arm still with a 2-on-1 here. I like to push his arm down as I come up into posture, okay? So we don't want to stay down like this. He might grab us and pull us down and put us in a guillotine or something like that, okay? So, ooh, there it was. All right, so that was what I was saying a second ago. George just put me in the seatbelt, right? If he has the tightest seatbelt in the world, there are other escapes that we like to teach once you get this one down, okay? But beginners on up, we need to know this one first. So we're grabbing the 2-on-1. We've got that pinched with our arm here, okay? Now, don't stay here when I'm doing any of this. I do it in sequence. Turn over, posture, okay? If he doesn't close his guard immediately, kind of open your guard back. You can start passing. Just doing your windshield wiper pass or your knee slide pass. Okay, so one more time. There was the pass if he locks his guard up. And then we're working through whatever our favorite passes are. So that is our escape from the back mount for our beginners on up. Thanks.